promised you some Anthony Edwards talk, and we got to get into it. He posted something that I think everybody could relate to, understand. You might not agree, but you can't deny what he says to be true, okay? Now, he posts via Instagram, Anthony Edwards, superstar. I've never seen so many people be so happy to see an athlete fail more than LeBron. LeBron James.
Facts.
His whole career, he's been hated on constantly and slandered to no end, to the point where when he retires, no one would have appreciated his greatness. I'm reading it word for word. He says, I'm glad I will be the one who did. Now, he's not the only one, but he is one who did, okay?
Yes.
Now, you have to ask yourself, well, is this true? And you have to ask yourself, well, why?
Is LeBron James the most cheered against, rooted against athlete in our lifetime? And like Covino said, you got to ask why, because you could hear names like Michael Vick, Ray Lewis, Deshaun Watson, Tiger Woods, Mike Tyson, Kobe Bryant. People have had things happen throughout their career where fans could be like, well, I don't know, they did something questionable. LeBron has done nothing of the sorts.
Or has he? Is this an unwarranted reputation? Is this unfair? Or maybe Edwards grew up, he was a little kid. He doesn't remember the perception some people had of LeBron. He just looked at him as a hero. He stayed out of the social issues. He agreed on what LeBron was standing for at the time. Who knows what Edwards... Maybe Edwards just admired him as a basketball player, which a lot of us should, right? Mm-hmm. But there's more to LeBron than meets the eye, and that's why. That's really it. Whether you agree with him or not, the unwarranted response and reaction, or the fans that don't root for him or hate on him, that all comes from things that he brought on himself. You could say for the greater good of mankind, or you could say it just rubbed people the wrong way.
I mean,
I
am curious.
I think it started with his sense of maybe arrogance as a younger player, like when he was early on in Cleveland.
No, I don't think there was anything. In Cleveland, he was loved. It all started.
No, outside of Cleveland, I'm talking.
You said
know
it started early in Cleveland.
Miami. I would say Miami then.
The decision is what I'm saying.
The decision, the arrogance that maybe a lot of people took from that. I'm not saying it was there, but that was the reputation. That's what he put out there. And then, of course, his stance on certain social issues. I'm not debating whether his stance was right or wrong. I'm saying anytime you're outspoken like that, it's going to be polarizing, and that's why.
Be honest, I'll play dumb. What political stances has he had that people...
It's not political stances, more social issue stances.
Well, like
and
China?
He's probably in the right for standing up for his people. You know, just culture issues, that's all. Just being an outspoken figure where Jordan kept to himself. That's really what the conversation comes down to.
Yeah, Rich, there was the whole Space Jam being released in China thing.
Lots
back
of different
during
things
COVID.
like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
If there was any story where, let's say, he had to stand up for the little guy, he did. And you could say, well, good for him because other superstars stayed out of it. And you catch less flack as a result of that.
Yeah. One thing we did point out on our show before, though, Covino, there's been times where, and I hate this, it's the media's fault, the reporter's fault, they will run to him like little kids anytime something breaks in the news, and they'll say, what's your thought on it? What's your stance on it? And he feels that pressure. He's kind of backed into a corner.
He never hit from it.
No,
so you
he
gotta
didn't.
Commend that.
But instead of saying, you know what, I need to do some research on that, I need to figure out what I think about that, he has spoken. And you could tell, like his book, he didn't read into it. And so sometimes it just comes off as, you know, him just talking.
So I'm not saying Anthony Edwards is wrong by any means, but I think there's reasons that people have reacted that way. You know, for right or wrong, that's why. There is a reason. People loved Michael Jordan because he wouldn't respond on things like that back in the day. He didn't.
Yeah.
And you just appreciated him as a basketball player. LeBron James was way more out there with his opinions, and again, you could commend him for it, but it also rubbed people the wrong way. It's like any polarizing figure, Rich.
Yeah, but I still want to know. Why? 877-99 on Fox. Like,
Well,
really? Because
and his antics on the
because
court.
of the decision? Because he flails his arms during a
I was
foul?
gonna
Like,
say,
that's
way
the
he
reason?
is, yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like it because he's great. And sometimes you don't necessarily embrace the greatness. I mean, why would anyone really hate on Tom Brady, to be honest? He wasn't a guy that wasn't necessarily outspoken by any means. And people hate on him because simply he's great, right?
I'm just curious as to, in a world where there are athletes that get in legal issues, guys are getting bad accidents, drugs,
Well, you're asking the
abuse.
wrong guy. I don't hate LeBron James at all. I think he's one of the greatest guys, and honestly thrilled that we were able to witness him live and watch his whole career.
I mean,
I took my little brother to see him his rookie year just to make sure, like, dude, I want you to know you're seeing LeBron James, dude, because he's a once-in-a-lifetime guy. So you're asking the wrong dude.
I do
I'm just
wonder,
saying,
though.
I know the people out there that do hate him, it's because he rubs them the wrong way on the court and off the court.
But you can't say it's because, Space Jam 2 in China. No, I don't think anyone cares. I think it's because he flails his arms during fouls and he did the decision. There's, like, you could point to a few moments that LeBron seems arrogant or maybe entitled or something. Whatever the case may be, I feel like it's completely unwarranted for him to be the most rooted against athlete of the last 25, 30 years.
I mean, if you could read my handwriting, I have it written down right here. Unwarranted.
Oh, so look at that.
Unwarranted reputation. It's kind of unfair. But again, it's like us doing a radio show. The microphone is in that guy's face so much that he's going to say things eventually that just rub people the wrong way. We as radio hosts every day deal with backlash because not everybody's going to agree with everything you say. And when you live under that microscope and every word and everything you do is speculated on, you're going to have people that just hate on you.
I'll tell you what.
And he was very outspoken in his career. My point is he never hid from anything.
If I lived under the LeBron
Which is
microscope,
awesome. Yeah.
I'd be canceled 50 times. All the things you may have said or did,
But
or
dude,
you might have been seen with a female coworker, and people have been like, "He's cheating on his wife." Like, LeBron is pretty clean.
The point is simple. Guys like Jordan gave back to their community. That's not what I'm saying. But back in those days, if someone went to Michael Jordan with a question about any issue outside of basketball, his reputation was, and the way it was handled back then was, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about basketball for the most part. At least in that era, is how Jordan handled his stuff, his business. LeBron didn't shy away from those things, whatever the issue may have been. And you know, as a radio host, not everybody agrees with everything.
That's true. Now, I will quote Dan Beyer, who was in on the update the day we were talking about the NFL draft. You think Dan Beyer, Isaac Lowenkron, and Monty, do you think they keep score who has the best points on shows?
They don't have to. It's me.
Okay, perfect. Leaderboard, Isaac Lowenkron. Dan Beyer did make a great point the other day. I'll give him props. I love DB. We were talking about how the NFL draft went from a bunch of old dudes smoking cigarettes with those beige phones in the 70s and 80s in like crappy hotel conference rooms to hundreds of thousands of people, AI technology, a player gets drafted. He's all of a sudden running, and they're changing his jersey into the team jersey on the video. It's unbelievable. The NFL draft went from, again, nothing to a big production that makes millions and millions watch. And Dan Beyer made the point that maybe in the future, free agency turns into something like that. So what LeBron did with the decision, is it crazy to think other athletes hold a press conference or an event where it's like, I'm going to make a choice?
We'll look back at that.
Dude, high school kids.
He got such unnecessary hate for that. I also think there's...
Dude, all-American high school kids line up a bunch of hats, and they're like, is he going to go to Georgia, Texas, Alabama?
He's sort of ahead of his time on that, I think.
A high school kid does it, and it's, oh, that's cool. LeBron did it? Most hated guy on planet Earth.
What year was that, by the way? Because I remember watching it and thinking it was awesome. Like, oh, man, this is cool.
I think it's because the city of Cleveland, of course, felt like he was totally dissing them, pulling the rug out from underneath of them. Remember, people there were burning his jerseys and stuff like that. That was the bad perception from it.
That started it.
Yeah.
Want to feel old?
And the update, by the way, is Anthony Edwards says he wants to avenge LeBron, and he says, I have to get LeBron's revenge. It's only right, so tell the Nuggets I'm coming. So that's the update there. So he did post a question on Instagram about why does LeBron get all this hate? Let it be known that it'll never come from him, and now he's avenging him. So kind of cool, Anthony Edwards doing his thing. Let's go ahead and make me feel old.
The decision presented by the late, great Stuart Scott, Michael Wilbon, Chris Broussard, he was there, John Barry, Jim Gray, all on hand in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Yeah.
A 75-minute special.
I mean, we were all watching.
On July 8th, 2010, 14 years ago.
Oh,
LeBron
so
James took the stage.
You and I were doing the show together,
and
probably talking about it.
As he said back then, the most famous line, he's going to take his talents to South Beach.
To South Beach.
And he then became hated. He went from Akron boy playing for the Cavs, the future of the NBA, to like, look at this arrogant, I'm making a TV special.
That was
but again,
the rep. Yes, that was
again,
the rep. But
free
you know what else
agency
people hate?
if free agency is headed there, why would it not?
As his goatness and greatness grew, people don't like to see guys of his caliber complain to officials, flop, and do those things.
Yeah.
He's almost too good for that, and it rubs people the wrong way. These are just my assumptions. I can't answer that. I don't hate LeBron James. I'm actually, like I said, happy we got to witness his career.
Agreed. Now, listen, we're running late. We're going to break. We'll come back. But I had one more thought about this. You know how there's always someone, the first person to do something? Like there was one person that decided, I'm going to drink milk out of the udder of a cow. It just happened to work out. There's always someone that does something, risky or not. Like, hey, do you think we should eat meat from that animal or that berry on that bush? One guy ate a berry and he's like, dead. There's always one person to do it first. Do you think if
I was the first guy to drop a...
What?
I can't, you know what? I can't even say it.
Okay, fine. Now I'm curious what it is.
Huh?
If LeBron James...
Famous Snoop Dogg joke.
Oh. If LeBron James and the decision in 2010 would have went over amazingly, like everyone's like, wow, that was awesome, I bet you it would have just been a trend from that day on. I think everyone else saw it. They're like, nope, not doing that.
It was how it was handled. I mean, they've made specials about it. He made people wait.
No, I'm saying if
the whole thing.
If that would have went well, every other free agent in the major sports afterwards would have thought, maybe I should do a special. But because it fell flat and looked bad,
yeah,
it was like, nope, not doing that.
Remember how the Cavs owner reacted?
Yeah.
He made LeBron his arch enemy there for a moment.
Don't you remember they even parodied it on How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah,
Barney Stinson had to pick his new favorite strip club, and he did the decision.
Jim Gray. There was also a backstory with Jim Gray and the questions. It's not coming to mind now, but you know, a lot of these things along the years rub people the wrong way, and maybe Anthony Edwards was too young to remember that. Not saying it's fair, but he's like, he doesn't get it. A lot of people don't get it. Why all the unnecessary hate, unwarranted hate on LeBron? Your thoughts, your feedback. We're going to you.